had a lot of folks pick up a copy of my Writer's Bane Research 101, and I can't tell you guys how good that makes me feel, because look, the book's not meant to make you fall in love with research. It's for people who do want to use or find themselves researching a lot for their fiction work. And what it does is it gives you advice and ways to compartmentalize it and break it down. And I will say, like, one of the first rules or first few pieces of advice I can give on that note is, 1, make a do list and a don't list. Now, strangely enough, this is the same advice that many of your wedding DJs will tell you. What are songs you absolutely don't want? What songs do you absolutely do want? And I'll fill in the gaps between. And that's basically what you're doing with the research, right? But you're going to focus on one part, either a single character or a single event or a single monster, whatever it is that you're researching, right? Or a place or a world, right? And you're going to make that do and don't list as you research. And you're going to set a timer, whether you want to set it to 10 minutes is usually about where I set it, 10, 20 minutes. Because when the alarm goes off, you're to check where you're at in research. Are you, 1, still on topic? If not, stop, rewind. 2, are you on a do list or don't list? Should it be added to your do or don't list? And then you go from there, you pivot. It's a good way to keep it under control. I also recommend limiting how many sessions you give each character, each thing that you're working on, because at the end of the day, guys, you're writing fictional work. Whether it's alt history inspired loosely by history, you get to choose the vehicle we readers ride in. And at the end of the day, if you want it to blend historical events, blend things, do that, but do so with confidence, okay? Now, mind you, if you're writing a historically accurate fiction or history fiction, you do have to be precise, right? So be mindful of who your audience is and what kind of story you're aiming to tell. But if you're alt history, if you're steampunk, you kind of get to blend a lot of science. You get to skew where inventions happen, what it runs on. Does it run not on gunpowder, but maybe the dried blood of trolls? You get to skew things however you see fit, because at the end of the day, we're writing fiction, okay? Don't get hung up on the details of being historically accurate unless that's the piece you're aiming for. In that case, you're going to find yourself doing a lot more research and a lot more fact checking, and you're going to want beta readers, not alpha readers, who specifically double check your facts, right? But most of us are writing inspired by these things, that we're trying to help our brains think outside the box. Because I will say that real life is stranger than fiction by far. Like, some of the most craziest things I've written in all my crazy stories about shifting Sasquatches and gods and deities and things, people were like, oh, that's such a cool concept, how'd you come up with it? And I'm like, that part is historically accurate, or that part is based off of actual lore legend. How come werewolves come before vampires in the Cedric series, Val? Because superstition wise and historically, shifter stories are older than the Strigoi and all of those vampire soul-sucking stories. There's even a superstition that if you're bitten or harmed by a werewolf and you go to your grave early without getting married, that was the dividing factor in most of those earlier Dark Age and older tales, that you would come back as something that fed on the living. Isn't that a vampire? So there's a lot of ambiguity that you can play with too. When you add these things, you get to choose what that looks like. And, but that doesn't mean that research you did is lost. You can write articles, you can write things for your newsletter followers and share about the real legends a little bit and revive the history some. So it doesn't all go to waste at all. But stay focused. Stay out of the research rabbit holes and set a timer. Make a do and don't list. And keep true and focus one element at a time. And be true to the story that your heart wants to tell, that is itching, the writer's bane that is currently haunting you, curse that you have been bestowed so blessingly. And you got this. All right?